Hey everybody, it's Jesse here, and today we're doing a discussion. I think on Wednesday I said I was going to do a discussion on what your first yo-yo should be, what I think, in my experience, and today I'm going to fulfill that. So, the first thing you need to ask yourself when you're getting into yo-yoing is, does it make a lot of sense to spend a whole lot of money on a super expensive yo-yo? So, for instance, the most expensive yo-yo in my collection is my CLYW Bonfire. This is a $150 yo-yo. Now, it's a pretty phenomenal yo-yo, but I got it after 3 years of yo-yoing, and I only paid $50 for it. So, even still, for me, more than like $60 is a lot of money to drop on a yo-yo. So when you're first getting out, you probably shouldn't spend a whole lot of money on a yo-yo. For me, my very first yo-yo, actually, I got from the Dollar Tree, and if you're from somewhere that doesn't have the Dollar Tree, it's a store where everything costs $1. It's pretty nice, and they have some they're dollar yo-yos. It's just usually a little metal yo-yo with a pretty narrow gap, and they're responsive. And at the very beginning, for what I needed, that worked. I got my yo-yo. I went through 3 of them before I decided to upgrade to my first, I guess, really a higher grade yo-yo. But I feel like that's actually a pretty decent starting point. If you want to learn some basic tricks, I learned to throw a sleeper, breakaway, trapeze. I actually even learned Eli hops on one of those. And you don't get into slack and stuff, but I did learn some. I actually made a few tricks on them. Nothing fancy, but that was a pretty good starting point. And I had one of those for maybe 2 months, and I did pretty well on it, I think. But then I decided it was time to upgrade. And when I was upgrading, I actually used my friend Richard's yo-yos, and I think I linked his video in his channel in the last video. His name is Richard Murphy. I actually used a lot of his yo-yos, and Richard is a really big Yo-Yo Factory guy. Most of his yo-yos are Yo-Yo Factory, and so I said, hey, I want a Yo-Yo Factory yo-yo, and I was looking, and my friend Richard had one yo-yo that at the time really stuck out to me. He had a Protostar. Now, I don't have a Protostar, but I have a North Star. And if you know anything about, actually, this is a Shackler Star. My North Star is up in the case, but I don't feel like getting up again. So his Protostar really stood out to me. That was such a fun plastic yo-yo. That was the thing I was looking for. I didn't want a metal yo-yo because I didn't worry about scratching it a lot. Because I knew I was just starting out. So I looked at his Protostar, and now my North Star, this is, like I said, Shackler Star, it's a small difference, but it doesn't matter. And I said, man, I really like the shape of that yo-yo, but I don't want to drop $40. And so I was looking through the Yo-Yo Expert shop page, and I found a yo-yo that at the time was $14.99. You can get it on sale at Yo-Yo Expert right now for only $9.99. I found something, it was called the One Star. The One Star, basically, it took the shape of the Protostar and the North Star, made it a tiny bit slimmer, and went to a material used on something called the Yo-Yo Factory 1, which is a beginner yo-yo. And I paid $15 for it, and to this day, I still think that was probably the best investment I ever made as a yo-yoer. Because it was a phenomenal first throw. It came unresponsive. The plastic was super durable. Before I sold that to a friend of mine who wanted to start yo-yoing, who ultimately never did. But I sold it to him for $10, and I had put so much, I had bounced it so much, and it was like, it came out of the box, because it was super smooth, still played unresponsive, very fast, nimble yo-yo, and the biggest thing that I was looking for, and the biggest thing, and this is the first point I'm going to make that I think, or actually, I guess this is the second. The first point was, don't spend an outrageous amount on a yo-yo. The second point I'm going to make, and this is, I think, even more important, because you don't want to get the wrong shape of yo-yo. So get a yo-yo with a wide gap. Now, I've got a few yo-yos here that are pretty good examples of that I'll show you. The CLYW Yeti has a pretty wide gap. You actually can't buy this one anymore, sorry. The Yo-Yo Factory Daydream, a $20 yo-yo, has an insanely big gap. It is huge. If we compare that to, my North Star, you can see it's got, maybe 4 or 5 millimeters on it. That's a pretty big difference as far as yo-yos go. Other yo-yos that have a pretty big gap, the Magic Yo-Yo Skyva. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to show you entry-level yo-yos. I guess the Yeti is not really entry-level. It's like a $50 yo-yo, or it was. But yeah, so you want a yo-yo with a big gap to make it easy to catch your strings. Now, where is somewhere you want to go after that? Here's an example of a yo-yo you should not use if you're trying to get into 1A. Bam. This is a Duncan Imperial. This right here is not for you. There's a few things about this yo-yo shape that you need to know. First off, if we compare this to the Skyva, you'll see the Skyva has more of the weight out towards the outside of the yo-yo than towards the inside. The Imperial is the other way around. All of the weight's concentrated in the middle. Now, that might be good for looping, but it's really bad for string tricks because this yo-yo is super unstable. Also, because your gap is so small, you're not going to be able to land your string easily, and so learning tricks on this is going to be super hard, not to mention the fact that this plays responsive, which you may or may not like. There's no such thing as a bad responsive yo-yo. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. There are bad responsive yo-yos, but responsive yo-yos can be a lot of fun. However, I feel like if you're going to be learning tricks, if you already got down your basic bind, it's time to go unresponsive. So you want a wide gap. Now, something else that I feel is important that maybe doesn't get talked about so much is low walls on the bearing seat. And this can just make it, a little easier to catch your string. So, yo-yos that have a low wall on the bearing seat. If I can, there's a knot in that. Well, let's look at the Daydream. The Daydream, the walls on the bearing seat come up just a hair above the silicon response pads, but that's not very much. Let's compare that to something like the Dark Magic 2, which is a phenomenal yo-yo. A lot of fun. But the walls on those bearing seat, holy cow, they're huge. And the yo-yo doesn't have the widest gap either. And so you have to first off land in this kinda not so big gap, and then you have to make sure it gets into this huge bearing area. And that's not going to facilitate learning your tricks. That's just going to make it more difficult. Now, I know over on Yo-Yo Expert, Andre Boulay does all of his tricks with the Dark Magic 2, but he's someone who already knows what he's doing. He's been doing this for years, almost as long as I've been alive, I'm pretty sure. And so I don't think he's going to have as much trouble landing tricks as someone like you would, who is a beginner, or maybe if you're not a beginner, you're just watching this. I don't think you want a yo-yo with huge walls on the yo-yo, and you want a pretty big gap on the yo-yo. The North Star, it's just like the Daydream. The walls on the bearing seat, they don't even come up at all, actually. They stop right above the silicon rings, which is really good. And the One Star, my first real good yo-yo, was shaped almost exactly like this. Now, it's a little bit narrower, but it didn't make a big difference. I learned my tricks fine on it. I got really good on my One Star for someone who'd only been doing it for about 9 months at the time. And so, I upgraded again. My next yo-yo after that, I got a few different yo-yos. I got 3 yo-yos at once. I got one, it was called the Starbright. They don't produce those anymore, but it was another yo-yo that was based off of the shape of the Protostar and the North Star, and it was a really good entry-level yo-yo that was $10. Almost as fun as the One Star, but it wasn't quite as durable, and that was kind of why I got it later on in my yo-yoing. Now, another yo-yo I got, I'm just going to move the case over here. The next yo-yo I got is one that you guys know is one of my all-time favorite yo-yos. And this is my first metal yo-yo. I got a shutter. And actually, you'll notice my shutter has 2 different halves of a shutter on here. This blue and green half actually came out of that very first shutter I ever had. So that's kind of why this yo-yo has some sentimental value to me. But look at this. The silicon response pads, they take up the whole space before the walls end. This has a really wide gap, so you don't, it's not the widest yo-yo in the world, but the way it's shaped allows it makes landing the string on here so easy. Now, one more thing I think you should look at for when you get your first yo-yo is versatility. Because when you're first starting out learning tricks, sorry, my cat is climbing around. When you first start out learning tricks, you're not going to have your own style yet. Even I, after 3 years, my style isn't really a style. I just sort of find whatever tricks I want and make whatever tricks I like, and I throw them together, and then make a routine. And so there's all sorts of, when you first start out, you're going to be learning so many different kinds of tricks that I feel like it's not a good idea to get a yo-yo that's specialized. For instance, something like the Horizon. I don't think that's a very good first yo-yo. In fact, I don't think that's a very good second, third, even fifth yo-yo. Maybe later in your collection, when you've gotten good and you're starting to find, okay, what kinds of trick am I best at? What do I like to do the most? And if you decide you like horizontal, boom, get yourself a Horizon. But until you're at a skill point where you can say, I really like doing such and such kind of tricks, I don't think you should get a yo-yo like the Horizon that's specialized in a certain way. Now, the Horizon can do other things, but if you decide, okay, let's say you're getting your third yo-yo and you decide you want a metal yo-yo, I think the Shutter is a better choice for that third yo-yo than, say, a Horizon, because while the Horizon is really good at horizontal and okay at everything else, the Shutter it's pretty good at everything else. It is proficient at everything else, including horizontal. The Shutter is designed in such a way that it's not as maybe stable as the Horizon, but what it lacks in that, it makes up for in its versatility. It can do a little bit of everything. And so that's one more thing I think you should look at when you're getting your first, second, third yo-yo. So, let's just do a small recap, and then I'll make one more point. Don't look for something super expensive. For your first yo-yo, I think the maximum you should spend is $20. $20 will get you some good yo-yos. It'll get you something like the Yo-Yo Factory Daydream, which is quickly becoming one of my more favored plastic yo-yos. Or you could get something like the Skyva, which is another plastic yo-yo. You could get a 1-star, a 1. You could... I don't think they still have any available, but you could get a Starbright. You could get Yo-Yo Jam Classic, Yo-Yo Jam Surge, Yo-Yo Jam Legacy. No, the Yo-Yo Jam Legacy is like $25. Never mind. But there's a lot of yo-yos you could get for that $20 price tag. And, the C3 Speedaholic. Another really fun plastic yo-yo. I wish I had one so I could show you. But it's a lot of fun. And so there are so many yo-yos you could get for this $20 price tag that you don't really need to go anything more until you're comfortable with yo-yoing. And if you're a younger person, your family might be the ones who are paying for your yo-yos instead of you. I know when I first I started out, I worked for like 2 weeks to save up the money for my first couple yo-yos. And then for Christmas, I got that Shutter from my girlfriend at the time. And that was really cool. But you're not going to have situations like that. So if you've got someone who's purchasing your yo-yos for you, you need to be able to get to a point where you can say, hey, look at this. I'm competent enough to not damage the yo-yo. And, okay, so you need to worry about the size, the width of the yo-yo. You need a wider yo-yo. You need to worry about the material. I think your first yo-yo should be a plastic. I don't think you should go for metal yet, because you're going to inhibit yourself when you're trying to learn tricks, because when you have a plastic yo-yo, you're not so worried about dinging it. But if you get a metal yo-yo, you're thinking, oh geez, this is a metal yo-yo, I can't hit it on the ground or anything. And so that's going to keep you from learning your tricks with the same fervor as you would with like a plastic yo-yo. So get a plastic yo-yo, one with a wide gap, one with low bearing walls, and keep it below $20. That's 4 points. There was one more I wanted to make, but I can't remember what it is. Oh yeah, get a durable yo-yo. Plastic yo-yos, a lot of them are going to be really durable. However, something like the North Star, maybe not the best idea, because the North Star is $35 first off. That violates like that third point I made. But it also cracks easily. I know Jensen Kimmett, who used his North Star to win the World Yo-Yo Championship in 2010, cracked his North Star. And a lot of people have that problem. And so I think you should look for a durable yo-yo. So durable, under $20, wide gap, low bearing seats, and plastic. And yeah, that'll be it for me today. So I hope this video sort of helped you out to pick your first yo-yo, or maybe your 40th yo-yo and you're just looking for, something fun to do. Anyways, that's it for me today. I will post a yo-yo review on Wednesday. This is Jesse, signing out.